Okay, big time spoiler review here of the Joker. This is a screenwriter's take, Joker. This is the spoilers. I can't say this enough. I've probably written it in the description. This is the spoiler review. So I'm going to be talking about all the events, and we'll totally give away the movie. So either go see it, or or you're going to ruin the movie for yourself. Okay, so the first act of this movie is about Joaquin Phoenix, who plays Arthur, who becomes Joker, and his terribly depressing life as a clown, which, I didn't really buy. That was one thing, and I didn't say this in the first review. I kind of didn't buy the whole clown thing, because even in the 70s, people really didn't like clowns. The idea you would hire a clown to spin aside outside your business, that to me seemed unrealistic, but I understand why Todd did that. And then just the opening scene of them stealing his sign and him running after it just seemed dumb. The whole scene seemed a little dumb to me. Like, who cares about the sign? You could have gotten another sign. Signs are like $1 in the 70s. So that whole scene it felt a little contrived. But other than that, the rest of the film, I felt knocked it out of the park. So we get this sort of sad, horrible life Arthur has. He's got mental problems. He's on all these drugs. Now, I don't remember if, there were a lot of psychiatric drugs in the 70s. I know there were some. But the idea somebody could be on 7 of them seemed a little excessive. That seemed like a more modern thing. I don't think they had that kind of, mixing. Or they would have just given them like 1 drug or 2, maybe. So that felt a little off. But I understand why they did it. They're trying to show you, oh, this guy's really messed up. There's a lot of big reveals in this. So Act 1 is mostly how terrible his life is. And, he meets a girl in the elevator. And then, his clown career is going nowhere. He wants to be a stand-up comic. And then Act 2, where a lot of the action happens, his mother is obsessed with Thomas Wayne. And one thing after another, it just reveals that a lot of what Arthur thought was real isn't real. Now, when they reveal, he gets a girlfriend and has a date and has this great time, and she goes to see him at the club and all this stuff. When that is revealed to be fake, that's a big reveal. And that was a very clever reveal, I feel, from Todd Phillips. Bravo. However, it did undermine my sympathy for the character. Because once I realized he was that crazy, I kind of was like, oh, well, then all this stuff, a lot of this stuff could be the delusion. Does he even have a mom? And I kind of expected him to kill more people, if that makes sense. He does kill a few people. They do this whole Bernard Getz thing on the subway, which is interesting. I thought it was weird. It was Wall Street guys at first. I thought it was going to be criminals. But this is where it segues into modern day. So the fact that he kills Wall Street guys and then people get upset because it's like, yeah, kill the rich, felt very modern. See, back in the day when Bernard Getz shot up the subway, people were like, yeah, let's get some criminals off the street. So, on one hand, I feel like it would have been more realistic to do it that way. But on the other hand, I feel like, well, he's making a statement about today's society. And this idea that, well, people are fed up with the rich and they're ready to crack. Which probably is an exaggeration these days, considering how good the economy is. So, the third act which is pretty insane, where it's just like, you know, Arthur, again, this is total spoilers, you know, after Arthur kills his mom, now he's just an evil guy. And at that point in the movie, I was just like, okay, either up the body count or move things along, because I ain't got no sympathy for this guy. You know, you kind of almost have sympathy for him when he kills the Wall Street guys and then gets a girlfriend because it like energizes him, and then he has something to lose. But once you realize he's just totally batshit insane, it's kind of like, well, I guess we're just going to see him kill a bunch of people. So it's, you know, while I feel it was like genius to reveal that his entire relationship with the girl was a total wank, it was also undermining to the piece as a whole, if that makes any sense. But still good. Still really good. I mean, the 70s come across, and the mob mentality, that all works, you know? Even when they rescue him at the end, it works. It works, you know? It's weird that he goes to, you know, the whole tie into Bratman is weird, but cool. I like that. I was worried halfway through the movie when it was like, oh, he's actually Thomas Wayne's older son. Like, oh, no. I don't want him to be brothers with Batman. That would be, no. And then when they reveal, oh, well, no, that's not true at all. Then I was like, whew, oh, thank God. Because that would have upset me greatly. But, you know, Todd stays true to the Batman mythos. So bravo for that. But, you know, again, the baggage of Batman being in the film just, to me, it undermines it. It could be an even better film with more detail of this guy that you could have just made up. You don't need Batman, you know? And I get it. Like, all this stuff is why does the Joker invent a venom to, you know, in the comics to make people die like this? Like, you could now do that in a movie and it would make total sense after this movie, right? Because, you know, he does this to Bruce Wayne and himself, and, you know, and it even ties into Heath Ledger at that end, right? That's kind of like the Heath Ledger face. So, and again, I said this in the first review, I don't know if I want to see Joaquin Phoenix getting wailed on by a Batman. I just feel like the whole movie was like super dark and depressing, and I kind of liked it when he shot the talk show host. I mean, I liked that whole sequence with the talk show host. Like, it was all against media. You know, it was a very anti-media statement, and I think that aspect of it is very important, and a great statement by Phillips. Again, bravo. So I guess what I'm saying is this is a great movie with flaws, maybe. You know, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a masterpiece, but certainly I would give it an Oscar for screenwriting, possibly direction, and possibly acting too. But not Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro goes gangster towards the end, which kind of annoyed me. I wanted him to like do a slightly different character, you know? He just seemed to be kind of there, and I wanted him to be like I don't know. I wanted him to do a slightly different voice, and then he got a little gangster when he got mad at the end, and I just thought, oh, you know, why do you got to do that, Robert? Like, do something else. But, you know, he was good. Kudos for him being in this movie when the Twitterati are tearing it to pieces. You notice they won't go after him because he's so anti-Trump, I guess. But, you know, the idea that this was an incel movie is stupid. I said that in the first video. Dumb. Not an incel movie at all. This is a severely mentally ill person. I don't know if the condition they put in the movie is real, but it does explain the Joker, that he can't stop laughing. And he's so screwed up because of his abuse from his mother. I mean, that all makes sense, right? And I like that scene too, when he goes to the mental hospital or Arkham and gets the records. That was a good scene. There just seems to be a lot of scenes with nobody characters. But I'll say, like, that scene, that was just a records clerk and Joker, and that was a good scene. It's a good scene. But it's made good mostly by Joaquin Phoenix's brilliant performance and the revelation right after or right at the end of that. So, it's not a funny movie at all. There's not one funny thing in that movie, really, that's going to make you laugh out loud, like, ha, ha, ha. Everything feels oppressive and dark. And, in that respect, it's an achievement. I mean, everything feels filthy. It's so 70s. Everything's filthy, broken, and graffitied. And, oh, man. He goes into the public bathroom, and one light's out, and one light's on, and flickering. And, man, that was so 70s New York all over. Because if I didn't see it myself, I was a little young to really see much of New York in the 70s, although I did walk through Times Square when I was like, not by myself, but my folks, when I was like 10, and it was crazy. I was like, this place is weird. But even in the 80s, it was still kind of like that before they cleaned it up in the late 80s. So, but get back to this movie. It follows a good 3-act structure. The ending is pretty good. I don't know. I don't know what more you could have done. I feel that the height of the movie is, Franklin getting killed and that shot of all the TVs. That to me is the true ending of the movie. Everything after that's kind of like a denouement, And again, it's comic booky because it's like, well, the Joker's got to get away so he can terrorize Gotham and become a gangster so later Batman can fight him. So again, the comic book stuff I think weighs down the movie a bit. But that's no fault of Todd Phillips. I mean, the talent is here. The talent is all over the screen. Again, support this movie. I think it deserves to be supported. Just understand you're going into a pretty relentlessly dark movie. Yeah. If you want to go and have a laugh and have a good popcorn time, this is not that movie. If you want to go and see a really interesting piece of filmmaking and then possibly discuss it at the diner afterwards and argue with your friends, then yes, that's what you're in for. All right, smash like and subscribe. Thanks for smash liking and subscribing, by the way. My subscribers are going up pretty good this week. Also, check out Wokistan, which touches on some of the themes that people on Twitter complain about. The Pineys 2, coming out in about a week and a half. And, of course, the Webcomic Factory and Superfrat. I got to get back to making comics and writing stuff. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.